So everybody, we are in the house. 239-9663 or 238-8001. We got the nation in the house. So let's go ahead and do this on the old PE tip. I'm Kenny K, and I'm out of here.
What I want you all to do for me.
But yeah, please sign up because we definitely want everybody to share what Kenny meant because, you know, again, he was very valuable to this area and what he did as far as, you know, playing great hip-hop on the radio at a time where in this area, it just, you weren't going to hear that. You weren't going to hear Eric B. and Rakim or Public Enemy, you know, on the radio in Tampa, anywhere, you know. Like, he DJ'd at the station from about 87 to 1993, I believe. Yeah, 93. And, you know, exposed the people in the area to, you know, some great hip-hop that really wouldn't have been able to hear otherwise, you know. Because, I mean, back in the day, you had Yo MTV Rap, you know, you had Rap City, but it was like an hour, and they didn't go deep like Kenny went, you know. I came to this area in like early 90s, and I'm from New York. I was born in New York. I was born in the Bronx, and you know, being there, I just heard hip hop everywhere, and you know what I mean. I didn't even think about it. It was there, Run DMC and all that. But when I moved down here, like, it was like just coming to like a desert. Like there was just no type of hip hop being played. Like unless there was like two stations, you know, like Power Pig and like Q105, and it was just horrible. You know, the best thing you could get back in the day was like Belle Biv DeVoe and, you know, maybe some Big Salada or whatever, you know, but it was real bad. But, you know, one Saturday night, I just happened to, you know, turn my radio and, you know, just flipping through the dials and I'm, you know, hearing Public Enemy, Can't Trust It. And I'm just like, you know, my head is going like, oh my God, you know what I mean? They're playing, you know, somebody's playing great hip hop. And it was Kenny. And, you know what I mean? And that meant a lot. That meant a lot. He played music that I went on later to get the albums and, you know, and shape how I listen to music today. You know, shape what I like in hip hop today. So that meant a lot, man. And, you know, it meant a lot to a lot of people. There's a lot of people who have, you know, shared that similar story. So we just felt it was important to have an event that honored Kenny for what he did. You know, and the influence he had in our life and like shaping a scene that later, you know, that sound, it influenced a lot of artists, you know, artists that would come up later in this region. So we're just here to honor the man, and I want to thank all y'all for coming. I know there's going to be more people coming because you know how y'all are in Tampa. You know, you say 6:30, y'all going to come at like 9:30. You know, he's coming up. Gonna share a few words about the man, Mr. Kenny. And this is something that we're gonna do every year, you know what I mean? And just to keep his name and his legacy going, because, like I said, the value of what he did for us is so immeasurable that, you know, we're gonna keep it going. So again, we appreciate everybody coming, and we're gonna keep this going. So, praise.
Peace, y'all. I wasn't even expecting to talk when I came up here, but back early 92, 93, I had first came down from New York, and I didn't know where I was going to record. I wanted to record, and I knew I wanted to rhyme, so I started shopping around for a studio. Everybody told me, Kenny K goes to Axiom Studios with Sean Eggers. That's where you need to go. Went to Sean Eggers, recorded my first little demo. Shadina, which many of y'all know in the hip-hop community, who's on 88.5 now, had met Kenny in the mall. She invited me down to the station with them. And I remember him putting in my tape and playing the song, and I'm in the next room going behind the glass. If you remember in the old studio behind the glass where all the records were. And I was nervous because he didn't know what he was playing, and he played it and he kind of made a face and had a little head nod, and he was like, that's all right, that's all right. And at that point, I thought I made it. That was the end of it. I was on radio. This man had let me in his station, played my song, and if you live, if you loved and lived hip hop, that's the only thing you had to listen to. Because you remember back then, you couldn't listen to Swan 93, as Kenny would say. There was nothing else playing except the Miami bass. There was no open doors. He was the one that was willing to take you in and give you that opportunity. And that kind of put the batteries in a lot of our backs. There isn't a person that I know in this room that I haven't worked with before, dealt with before, that it didn't relate to walking in those doors at 88.5 with Kenny K opening that door and introducing us. And I always recognize him as the true and only authentic godfather of Tampa hip hop scene. That's all I can say. Kenny K, rest in peace, brother. Peace.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for that. Oh, we got my man. We got my man, the DJ, coming up.
I used to DJ for him. So back in the day, I moved down here from Jersey in '89, and it was like the woods out here. It was like bumfuck Egypt, and I met a lot of cats, a lot of good people. Some of them aren't with us today, like Kenny, rest in peace. But Nick Major right there, he was part of the Dedicated Brothers, and it was him. It was Cool Breeze. It was Aki the African Prince, and it was Jay Slice, and they took me under their wing. We used to rock bombers back then with the fur on them and everything like that, and we swear we were gonna rule the world, and Kenny, I met Kenny through them, and he opened the door for me, so I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for him, and rest his soul, this legacy is gonna live on for him, through us, through hip hop. So I want to give a big shout out to everybody here. Everybody out there, like my man said, give everybody, yourself a round of applause. And give Kenny K a round of applause. Kenny K. Thank you.
Appreciate that, man. Scoop, please come to the stage. And also check out Righteous Temple of Hip Hop. Sundays, 8 in the morning, right? At 8 in the morning. All right. Look at that, Scoop. Testify.
How's everybody doing?
All right.
How's everybody doing? Y'all having a good time tonight? All right, I want to say shout out to DJ Terror. Chill out. Come on, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. What's up, Concept? Shout out to DJ Sandman, Phone Ghost, Phobia, Spinal Tap, DJ Fader. It feels like a reunion in here, but I got a story that I want to tell. I'm originally from Amityville, New York, which is in Long Island, and I came from here from high school to USF, and it was a culture shock. I can't front. It was a real culture shock. So during my week of orientation, they had, a whole bunch of parties, and they had DJs, and they was playing all this music, and I was just like, at that time, when I was coming from New York, I was real all about New York hip-hop, fuck everything else. As the years went on, I softened my stance a little bit because I know the culture down here, so I got to live it and experience it and understand it. But back then, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? For real, I mean, I was just ignorant to it. I was like, man, what the hell am I gonna do down here? All I have is the music that I have. And I used to DJ, a little bit. Not the best, not the worst. So I remember I was staying at Beta Hall at USF. If anybody went to USF, you know about Beta Hall. So I was walking down the halls of Beta Hall, and all of a sudden I hear this music. I hear someone bumping X-Clan's Funkin' Lesson. Now, if you know anything about hip-hop, you know who X-Clan is. It was a real popular group back in the 90s. And their first single was Funkin' Lesson. Yeah. So I'm following the music, and I'm like, who the hell is playing this shit? All right, so I had to follow the music, and the closer I got, it got louder and louder. So the door was open. So I came through the door, I knocked on the door as hard as I could, And when I knocked on the door, this head pops out, and it was a white dude. And I was like, whoa, a white dude is playing X-Clan. This is dope. For real.
Yeah.
So I knocked on the door, went into the door. I was like, yo, what's up? My name is Scoot. He was like, yo, what's up? My name is Sandman. So we started talking.
Yeah.
So as we started talking, I realized, yo, we got the same type of mixer. I DJ too. We got the same mixer. So we started talking. I started going through his records. So I'm gonna make a long story short. We started talking about hip hop. I started to get happy because someone knew about hip hop and had the same music. Well, in the little conversation, I was just like, you know, I don't have no way of listening to hip hop other than the records that I got. Sandman told me about 88.5 and Kenny K. Now the thing about that is, I didn't really appreciate it back then because it was just, you know, oh, check out 88.5. I'm like, okay, cool. 88.5 was, you know, basically what I listened to, along with the music I had and the music he had. But now that I'm thinking about it, all these memories come back of everything about 88.5. 88.5 is where I heard some local groups. I also heard a couple of songs. One song that I really remember is Swing Your Backs. And this was by a group named Black Saturday. And if you haven't heard that song, if you want to know some Tampa history, you really need to go and dig up Black Saturday and Swing Your Backs. But I heard that on a local radio. I was happy. I got to meet these dudes. I actually knew them before the song came out, I believe. I think so, yeah. But real good dudes, real good times, and that's actually my connection to Kenny K. I didn't meet him personally. I did see him a couple of times in passing. Never got to shake his hand, never got to say, hello, how you doing, introduce myself. But what I can tell you is, what we need to do is we need to appreciate the history that we have in Tampa. All right, we need to do that. All right, I've been here about 20 plus years. I have some Tampa history, but at the same time, there were people here who were before me. And you always got to respect and learn and listen to those that were before you. So I'm not gonna talk to you all day, but I just want to give my respects to Kenny K. And I'm gonna pass the mic over to my man, who I've been down with for 20 plus years.
Check.
Peace.
Hey, Scoot, hold on. Actually, you might not remember, but Kenny K actually saw you perform.
Did he?
Yeah, at USF. Because that's really when, I mean, what's up, everybody? I'm Sandman. Good to meet you. Anyway, we was doing a show at USF when Professor Griff was there.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was when 2 Live Crew was going through the band in the USA.
Yeah, I do remember.
And they was taking them to the Supreme Court and all that. So we were at USF, and Kenny and Professor Griff were speaking there.
Yeah,
you don't remember because that's when I listened to Kenny like all my life, but I never really met him until that night. That's the first time that I ever personally met him. I shook his hand, I told him I loved him. Like, that's for real.
That's dope.
But he watched you perform, so he did see you rock.
Damn, that's dope. That's real dope.
He didn't even know.
Wow, I didn't know that. But okay, well, that's dope.
You just didn't meet him, but he saw you rock.
As far as radio stations though, you got to think about all the current radio stations that are existing now wouldn't go exist without 88.5 Kenny K. Kenny K is the father, and we're all sons. All right. After Kenny K, there was 88.5 with Mad Links and D Money and Destro and Little Lou, and then they also had another alternative, which is at BUL, which was the House of Hip Hop, DJ Sandman and I. And we started to rock, and we did that for a couple of years. So at that time, it was only 2 that I can recall at that time after Kenny K. All right? And then after that, it spawned a whole bunch of different type of radio shows. So we gotta understand the history, appreciate it, acknowledge it, honor it, and respect it. Peace.
That's good. That was beautiful, man. All right, I'm not even supposed to talk, but I'm just saying, you know, when I met Kenny, I told him I loved him, and pretty much that's how I learned hip-hop, from Kenny K and DJ Red Alert. That's who I came up listening to and made me the DJ that I am today. So I appreciate him forever. And I guess I got one story. Well, I told you the one when he watched us rock with Scoop at USF, but when Kenny got sick, I knew at the time he was working with Chuck D. So I was working at WBUL, the college radio, me and Scoop, and I talked to the Def Jam rep all the time, and Public Enemy was on Def Jam, but I didn't really know Chuck or a way to get him, so the Def Jam rep gave me the office, the fax line. So we're old school, right? Because I know no one still faxes. But anyway, so I took all the newspaper articles from the Tampa Tribune about Kenny being sick, and trying to raise money, and I'm like, man, I gotta let Chuck know. So I was like, if anyone can help raise money, it could be him. So I took all that and I pasted them on, glued them on some paper, and I faxed all the articles to Chuck D's office. I was living at USF at the time, and then the next morning, my dorm room, the phone rings, and it was Chuck D calling me. You know, it was crazy because Chuck called, and he was just asking information about Kenny, wanted to know what hospital he was at and how we could get in touch with him. So that's how I met Chuck, and then from there he was trying to help raise money as well to help Kenny. So that's one of my Kenny K stories. All right, and I still got all the tapes. I got mad tapes. I probably got a box of like 30 or 40 Kenny K tapes. So I need to put them online one day. One day I'll put them online. All right. But I appreciate the album. That's right, I do got the album. That's unreleased. That's like top secret album too. I appreciate that.
My bad.
All right, appreciate everyone coming out too.
Thank you, Sandman. Thank you, Scoop, man. Thank you. That's why it's just so important to hear these testimonies, man, and you know, so people just get an idea of just how valuable Kenny and his legacy, his work, it is to the area and to us. So next up, we got BC, who's gonna concentrate. You already got a mic, man. All right.
My name is BC. In case you don't know me, I do hip hop flavors, which happens Tuesday night, well, technically Wednesday morning from midnight to 4 a.m. on 88.5 FM. But
Taste it, y'all.
yes, taste it. Hip hop flavors. Now, what I want to say is I want to preface my statement by saying that what I want to say is not to be an insult to anyone who spoke before me. But what I want to say is this. And I'm going to break it down to an analogy that's serious. Hip-hop to me is like a religion. So, I want to speak to y'all like this. People talk about Jesus and what he did. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm a Christian, right? So I act this certain way. But they talk about Jesus in terms of this thing that's encapsulated and crystallized in this book. But they don't actively live this thing that Jesus said. They don't behave in a Christ-like manner. Now, this is just an analogy. Kenny K, in a way, for me, was like a savior, because as a child who was in 6th and 7th grade listening to his show, he exposed me to things that changed the way I thought. So what I want to say is this. Kenny K was a revolutionary, much like Jesus. So it's that serious to me. So for folks that are hip-hop heads, many of us that I'm talking to are, I'm 40. A lot of us that I'm talking to, late 30s, early 40s. So it's like, we're hip-hop heads, but, we're hip-hop heads, hip-hop died in like 93. We don't treat hip-hop as something that's alive, that's ongoing. So if you can follow my analogy, I try to, with my hip hop show, behave like Kenny K and be a revolutionary. Yeah. Because what Kenny K was doing was being a tastemaker. Yeah. He wasn't doing the stale, conventional shit. He was coming at you with stuff that was disturbing, that challenged the way you and I thought as young hip-hop heads. And I think that is one of the points that everyone who spoke about Kenny K really maybe forgot to mention, but like, what are we playing that's from 2015, 14, 13, or whatever? Who's playing the new Run the Jewels? Who's playing the new Mick Jenkins? Who's playing the new Joey Badass or whatever? Who's new? Who's challenging the way we're thinking in hip-hop today? So that's what I'm trying to do in Hip Hop Flavors. Who's trying to get Funk Ghost famous? Who's trying to get Temp famous? Who's trying to put Tampa on the map? And that's not an insult, because I love Black Star, I love Guru, I love Public Enemy. That is the shit that's in my DNA. But the fact is that if we want to keep hip-hop this beautiful thing that grows and continues through the generations, we as DJs, radio hosts, MCs, promoters, need to act like Kenny K and treat hip-hop as this revolutionary thing that moves through the generations, because there are beat makers and lyricists today in 2015 that have beautiful revolutionary things to say that will guide the youth that will come later. So, as a host of a radio show, Hip Hop Flavors, that plays mostly underground and local, when I say local, I mean Florida artists. That is what Kenny K means to me. I try to operate in the spirit of what Kenny K was doing. I try to be today's Kenny K. I try to make artists that come to me and say, hey, I've got this CD. Can you play it? Because no one else is giving me a voice. I try to give those people a voice. And I think that's what Kenny K did. So, hey, rest in peace, Kenny K. Hopefully, I'm making you happy. Thanks for listening to me.
That was real right there. That was real. Be Kenny K. Be Kenny K. Have that integrity. Definitely feeling that. Next up, we have my man Kenny. Gonna testify. Let us know.
Thank you very much. Y'all, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little emotional.
Don't be nervous.
I was born and raised here in Tampa. And when I was in 7th grade at Oak Grove Junior High School, Sugar Hill was out, and everybody knew Rapper Blight. And that was the shit. Everybody knew that song. And then I went to Middleton Junior High, and I was lucky enough to go to house parties where they had Houdini, Grandmaster Flash, Curtis Blow. People were breakdancing. I'm like, man, who are these parents letting their 14-year-olds do house parties with this kind of shit? But then, for a while, until I got into high school, there was like kind of a gap, because there was no Kenny K. And there was like, unless you were down with the New York underground scene, you were like absent. You had to listen to 95 Rock and listen to AC/DC and Led Zeppelin. And then on came Kenny K on Hip Hop Flavors. And then Run DMC and Beastie Boys blew up. And then all my boys used to work at Dairy Queen on Hillsborough and 12th. And one night we called up Kenny K and we're like, yo, can you play Brass Monkey? And so, because that's what else a bunch of 17-year-old white kids can ask for is Brass Monkey, except for like maybe You Be Illin' or It's Tricky or Peter Piper. But Kenny K, he played Brass Monkey, and he's like, this one goes out to the crew at Dairy Queen. And we were so excited. We were like, oh my God, Kenny K recognized us, the crew at Dairy Queen, you know? And it was like, it really made us feel a part of the fabric of hip hop, which was this blossoming, not only art form, but culture. You know what I'm saying? And we recorded it on our little Memorex Maxell. I might have been Sertron from fucking Kmart at that point in time. But we recorded that shit. We used to play it for all our friends. Oh, listen, Kenny K gave a shout out to the Dairy Queen, you know? And, but it was very exciting. And Kenny K, like, at that point was like, we were in a, you know, if you lived in Tampa, if you grew up in Tampa, we were in a hip-hop void until he came around. You know what I mean? There was no Dirty South. There was no MC Shy D. There was no Luke Skywalker. There was no, you know, Digital Underground. And then, but he was like introducing us to all this new shit. And it's hard to describe what that meant to us and what that did in my life. And since then, you know, when I met Jam Master Jay, Run DMC, Ice-T, I got to open up for Talib Kweli, I got to open up for De La Soul, and whenever I do those things, I would always think about Kenny K. Because if it weren't for that, that would have never happened to me. If that weren't for that, I would have never been so enthused about hip-hop. I would have never understood what hip-hop meant to me, you know, because back then it was either, if you were with the New York Underground or some shit like that, I mean, there was nothing in Tampa bringing that to us, you know. And, you know, he taught us about Jungle Brothers and, you know, MC Light and all this stuff. And I used to work at Vinyl Fever record store, and we used to have this little tin, and I'm not trying to get too dark, but we used to have this little tin when he needed, you know, money for his sickness, and I used to get a little upset because there wasn't enough money in the jar. But, you know, the day before he died, Doc Gooden gave 150 grand. And, you know, I used to play with Belmont Heights Little League. They called me Pee Wee because I was left-handed. I was about that big. And they told me don't swing. Because I was playing with Dwight Gooden and Gary Sheffield, so don't swing. You know. But to make a long story short, I owe my life to Kenny K. You know, the fact that I was like, you know, one night when I was up here playing with Guam Massive, I'm used to playing behind a trumpet. I'm not used to speaking, you know what I'm saying? So, but when I was behind there with the trumpet and I look out in the audience and there's Charlie Chase watching me, that's because of Kenny K. You know? And I just can't even describe what Kenny K means to me and what he means to this area and what he's done for so many people. I don't think many people understand. You know, so every time you hear at ODS and there's B-boys out there and Casper Lesage and, you know, when Black Star was here and when Rob Swift was here and everything else, we owe that to Kenny K. You know, so God bless Kenny K, rest in peace. That's it.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. I want to give a shout out to my man Slick Worthy, man. You know what I mean? Very influential DJ in Tampa, man. That's that great radio show, man, on USF, man, Bulls Radio, man. Fridays from 9 to 11, man. You know what I mean? And Wednesdays 1 to 3, man. He's a big supporter of local hip hop, man, for years, you know. Proud to have him here, man. But we about to have some more testimonies come up, so I need my man Spinal Tap, the legendary Tampa hip hop group, Tap Phobia. Yeah, man. These brothers right here, TGP, man, they, you know what I mean? I wouldn't do what I do without TGP, man. Funk Ghost, Phobia, and my man Spinal Tap, man. Just, you know, their music was played, you know, Kenny loved them, and he played their music all the time on there. And that's the first place I ever heard of Black Saturday, you know what I mean? And these brothers, man, lyrical giants, man, they're real positive influences in my life, man. They showed me a lot of love when I was a little kid, man. Like, showed me how to do it, like Funk Ghost showed me how to make beats and stuff. So, you know, they're gonna come up here and talk about Kenny, because, you know, Kenny loved them, man, and he was real supportive of local music, and he supported them and played them all the time, man. So make some noise for my man Phobia and my man Tap.
Yo, it's Spinal Tap in this thing. Yo, Kenny was real, man. Check this out, man. Check this out. The song that we did was Where You Got It. He heard Where You Got It, and from there we got on the station or whatever, man, and he showed us love. And if it was not for Kenny K, there would be no Black Saturday or anybody, man. Anybody hip-hop in this area. No one would know about hip-hop if it was not for Kenny K. Straight up. Let's just break it down like that, man. I'm from Orlando. I came here in 91. And when I got here, yo, he was pumping Guru and Brand Nubians, and I'm like, man, who was this guy, man? You know what I'm saying? I never knew, you know what I'm saying? Kenny freaking K, man. Put it down for Tampa hip-hop. Black Saturday, my man, hold on, I'm gonna let my man Phobia 1 tell y'all where we got it.
Honestly, y'all, I used to be in Progress Village. It's an area not known for hip hop. They do booty shaking and all that stuff. So Kenny K played on the radios in the 80s and I was raised on it. So I got on that more than what I was used to in that area. So Kenny introduced to us like a night of like where like if you was coming from a club, you was drunk or something, he gonna sober you up. He gonna make sure you get home safe that night. You know what I'm saying? All his music influenced us to what we are today. So I thank him for that. I'm gonna turn the mic back over.
Peace. Formerly known as MC Spike LaRock, now currently Minister Paradox. Always been down with the Universal Zulu Nation since 1978. I came to Tampa, Florida in 1987. That same year, I met Kenny K. All right, he gave me a flyer in the street. It was in West Tampa, and it said Zulu Baby in the Nation. And I had to check him. And I said, yo, you can't use that name, B. You know what I'm saying? And he said, why? I said, because I'm down with Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation. And he was like, oh. He invited me to the radio station. You know, he introduced me to some of the people from Digital Underground. But besides all that, we were friends. We became real good friends. He played one of my joints a lot called Making of a Vic. That was like one of the classics of Tampa. And I mean, I appreciated it. He said, yo, I'm loving this. He really liked it. The stuff that he didn't like, he didn't play in my shit. He played what he liked. He broke records. Before anybody else, Kenny K broke records. He didn't play what people wanted him to play. He played what he felt was hot. So he was real. Not like a lot of these fake DJs out now today. Fuck y'all. He was real. Alright? And we all freestyled and battled on the air. Never had no beef. I was on the mic with them on the air with Kenny K. Me, him, Jimbo, day one, all of us. Kenny came to the crib like it was his crib. My mom gave him rice and beans. You see what I'm saying? My moms loved him. Alright? I got a lot of stories, but Kenny introduced me to Chuck D, but most of all, he introduced me to what real hip-hop in Tampa should be, not that doodle brown shit. Alright? Rest in power, God. Peace.
McFarlane Park, playing ball with Kenny McFarlane Park. Tommy Boy. Tell you all that, man. Kenny K was real, bro. It's the first person I was real.
Hey, man, thank y'all, man. Appreciate that, man. You know, that's what we want to hear, just real testimony, real life. You know, people that knew him, knew how special he was and the contributions he made to the area, you know, that would lead for us to be here today. So, you know, like I said, we come around every year to celebrate him. You know what I mean? And we're going to keep this going on, man. The next person we'd like to bring up for testimony is DJ Law. So, with DJ Law come up here and tell us a little something about what Kenny meant to you. And also, if you don't already, make sure you tune in Saturday nights, midnight to 3, Saturday Night Shutdown. You know, that was Kenny's original spot. You know, he's the one that started it. And, you know, now we got my man Concept, who's kept that going, you know, playing, supporting local hip-hop, as well as playing, you know what I mean, good hip-hop from all around the world. So, we got my man DJ Law coming up, and gonna let us know about Kenny.
Peace, you can keep the music, keep going, man.
You can keep that going, bro. Cause I'm gonna put a brain, I'm gonna put something in your ear. Yo. I really can't get to the year. First of all, let me start like this. Kenny K, he broke a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? He broke a lot of things. Broke a lot of records. He broke a lot of dreams. He made a lot of things happen. You know what I mean? You can cut that now. But at the same time, I just want to let one thing to be known. The spirit of this man is bigger than what the hell everybody's talking about. You know what I mean? Hip-hop is really a universal language. You know what I'm saying? It really is. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. You can see it. Yeah, we got damn hoes. But at the same time, man, big up to everybody here that I do know. You can cut that, man. Cut the music, man. But at the same time, it's to the point where Kenny K, he was a real dude. He was like a big brother to all of us. I'm not just me, not wherever you started. You might have been there day one. You might have been there on the last day. Fuck that. You had a chance to fucking touch the dude. And dude, that I came from Cleveland, you know what I mean? They called me Amico Flakes. Why? Because I used to get so nervous because I never been in such of a big crowd of people. And I used to get flaky with my left wrist. I'm right-handed, by the way. He told me, yo, take your left wrist and put some weights on it and DJ with it for like a week, all day. So I went to school. These guys, Tap Phobia, where you at? Where you at? Raise your hand. These guys used to pick on me when I was going to school. Because I used to come to school with albums that they didn't have. They was like, hey, where the hell you get that from? Don't worry about it, bro. Because Kenny K gave it to me. We was in the Midwestern record pool, 88.5. To make a long story short, and I'm going to just say this, and I'm going to cut everything short, and I'm going to leave you with this. It's a diamond in the dirt. Is whatever you get out of this life, that's the only thing you're going to get out of this life is what you're putting in. So I'm going to tell you the same thing that he told me. Straight up, for real. It's hip-hop. If you ain't putting nothing in, you ain't going to get nothing back. And that's just it. I know Greg out of Shock G, he's supposed to be here. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it doesn't matter who's here. You know? He was a real good dude. I know his brother. And peace to his brother Kenny, Keith Waters was handed, you know, whatever this goes. But at the same time, without Kenny K, a lot of people down here in Tampa, or wherever even you came from, you might have came from New York City or whatever, you might not have known the essence of hip-hop, even history. You know what I mean? Where we all came from. It was through the music that we was listening to that was blocked.
I felt that.
You know what I mean? And he still played that on the radio. He really did. For real. He really did. He used to call me Amico Flakes. He's the one that basically gave me that name. And I told him, you look like Flavor Flav on a good day. And that's real. And I don't care if you're making fun of me, because I'm making fun of you. That's just what it is. But at the same time, though, rest in power. Big up to the FOI, Food of Islam that's in the house. Also the Zulu Nation. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Raise your hand if you down with that. You know what I mean? It ain't got to be too many people, but at the same time, if you multiply that by 1,000, it's unbelievable. Trust me. But anyway, hey, rest in peace, Kenny K. And I'm drinking, so if I'm stuttering, tell your mama I like my goddamn grapes buttery.
Man, give it up for DJ Long, man. Make some noise for Tease. Make some noise for Tease.
Do it the right way. So I'm gonna stand right here, and if you really knew Kenny K and you knew his show on 88.5, then you'll feel me right now about 2 things I'm just gonna repeat over and over and over. Well, no, it's a few more words when I think about it. I'm one of his original KSTs. And if you don't know Kenny and his KS, he had about 15 of us. And we did different jobs, and I was his bad bitch. I was the girl that was always in the studio with him. So I'm gonna give it to you like this. Tell me if you remember this. Kenny K is in the house. Say 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 Kenny K is in the house. Now, if you know about our station, 88.5, and you know about the wax attack, then you know that before he started his show, he always started it with saying, Kenny K is in the house. Say Kenny K is in the house. Now, I was the kid that always spent a lot of time with him because he wanted to make sure that if he had to leave to go to the Sundome to do Son of Berserk's concert, or no matter what was going on, somebody could man the board. So that was my job. So I've worked in radio now 20 years. I got my license to broadcast when I was 15 years old, only because Randy Wynn said at 88.5, if she gonna be on the radio, she gotta be licensed. Back then, you could get your FCC license. They didn't know how old I was. I was 15. I sent it, filed it, got it, and I still have it to this day, even though that's not the way we do radio now. Because of Kenny K. Waters, he taught me real radio. And me being a radio personality, 20 years, when I get in a DJ booth, I always tell them, y'all don't know real radio. They said, what do you mean? I said, because we're the knobs. We're the reel to reel. Where's the vinyl? You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, he also taught me how to do it on the tubes, and I was a little funky at one point. I'm old now, I'm 44. So I don't know how to get with it, but I'll tell you this much. When I go to a party and I hear hip hop being played, and I look at the DJ, and when I see the DJ scratching on a computer, I say, what the fuck is this? And they say, what? I said, that's not how you do hip hop. Hip hop is scratching and waxing, and it's a wax attack. It's a thing that you just cannot explain. It's a feeling that you get. It's not something that you can find in your laptop. It is vinyl to vinyl. I know it's updated times, and I get it, but I still have to call them out on that shit. If you don't know how to do it, if your laptop go down and you just don't know how to get it on the two turntables, then you're not, to me, a DJ. Exactly. What Kenny K means to me is everything. I was the one kid that made sure that it was more than a mission to me. I was 15 years old. I didn't know anything about hip hop. He exposed me to it. All I knew is that my mother wouldn't let me go out with my friends, but she would, for some reason, trust Kenny that I could be in the studio from midnight to 3 in the morning with Kenny K. And I did, and I learned everything that I learned. But just to give you a little Black history fact about Kenny K. Some people may know and some people may not know. Black history fact number 1. When Huey Newton died, 1989, Black Panther, he was the pallbearer. I gotta give it to him. A lot of people don't know that. So if you know anybody that's writing the history of Kenny K, you tell them to come see Tees. You tell them to see 2WX. You tell them to go see Doc P. You tell them to meet Nick Major. You tell them to go talk to Quabata. You tell them to go to Minister X. I can name so many. And everybody that came to that station in the 80s, I got you in my scrapbook. I got you on a pair of jeans that I can't wear no more because I was a 10 then and I'm a 14 now. But I got your name. Your name was important. Another thing to know about Kenny K, I ask somebody sometimes, when they tell me that they know who Kenny is, I said, well, tell me this. Who was his favorite female MC? I said, oh, Latifah. Like I said, wrong. It was a female named Isis. He had him on the jeans. He had her on her back. When he passed away, Kenny wanted to be buried with his Isis jeans on. If you want to know a fact or two, if you want to write a documentary, make sure you go to Ma Waters. She's still living. That's his mother. Make sure you reach out to Keith. Make sure you meet the actual queen of the KS was his wife, Vita K. And she still will give you the history of Kenny. So on that day, when I found out that he was sick, I was in college. And one of the things that he told me to do is whatever you do, you stay in radio. Don't you lose sight of it. So when I found out he was sick, came home. I'm like, what the hell? What's wrong with you? Tried to make him laugh. If you know Kenny, you know he made up his own dance. No, it's not the Humpty dance. It's not that at all. He didn't do that one. But when you were in the studio with Kenny and he was just fucking around, he would do this one dance. I'm gonna show it to you. You give me a beat. I'm gonna see if y'all really know. Because when I went to go see him, I did this dance for him. And he fell out laughing and said, "You the baddest bitch." Give me a beat, just a small one. I'm not gonna take too much time. But I went in the hospital saying, Kenny K is in the house, saying Kenny K is in the house. So he made up his own dance one day. It was just he and I in the studio. And he was the only DJ, I'm gonna tell you, in Tampa that had security at the radio station. It was stupid crazy because the line would be so long, everybody wanted to get in the studio. And what I used to do, my responsibility was we had 1 hour where we did play it or slay it. It was your responsibility to give me your demo. I'll put it on the air. I'll open up the phone lines and the callers would say, that's booty. Slay it. And then I would take the tally. Oh, that's hot. Play it. And I'll take the tally. So that was my job. And I wish that I was doing radio now because I swear, I saw some shit up here and I will put all you guys on radio. You ready for me to do the dance? It would be like this. It's funny because I seen some rappers do their dance and I was like, they don't even know where they get that shit from. It started back in Tampa with Kenny K. I'm not going to take too much time. I just wanted to, before I got back on the road, I got to go back to Jacksonville. I just wanted to tell you guys that he was an amazing person, human, brother, father, teacher. He knew Zulu Nation. He was loved by the FOIs. The Panthers knew of him. Everybody knew about Kenny K. When nobody would play y'all stuff, he was the one that took the chance and the opportunity on it. It's very important that if you didn't know him personally, and I'm okay with that, but when you speak his name, make sure you speak in truth. Because people who know him, that's been a part of him, that ate his food with him, that took road trips to New York with him, if you don't know that shit right, they're going to look at you sideways, if not knock you out.
Goddamn right.
Because we take Kenny K. Waters personal. Concept, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you guys keeping it alive in Tampa. I promise that I'll be back. Anytime you need me, I'm here. I'm here. That's all I got to say. I'm out.
Thank you, T. Make some noise for T's, man. Wow, I did not know that. He was a pallbearer at Huey Newton's funeral. That's crazy.
All right. We got the posse in the house. Oh, let me put my theme music on. I'm slipping. All right, we are in the house. WMNF 88.5, Tampa Bay's one and only Choice FM. Now, my homeboys. What's the name of the posse? Wait.